Assalamu alaikum bade wolo kal konton al token don nal konton kindola nal bade malen ala yada ar radio na studio region sal sato nyin kono na internet failure sato na live streaming nyin data off automatically data fire off so say nga murkoma boda briefing mena ki say ngale kotake membe den standard newspaper la kibar follow min findira wala ngindi ko ex bodyguard na president koto membe siring exile yaya jamme wala diamuda since kabri ye akit ye discharge membe den treason men ye kyagala ila martial court kiti men keta na sojar kunda nyinto so okamala mbale olo ngata santing nga kibarol sambali na men beko ifindira standard news ba nimboro to ngata kibar bun dol fanando man sakunda men fu wala nginti ko ye constitution of men baiten ila in 2024 family mende da laboka kumandinya behind the closed door ko bunda soro fama ka loi de la loi me na findina banku dengol ka iko song wala so be idandi kan ko gati deputy bo nyin ye bayro men ke ati nyin draft constitution la ko abi ta nyaatu sen ko mo sambal nam bake de komata sotla bake na bankola constitution ni bari be tembo men to fana ko ba pare kan ka je ko diaspora la carte fao men ya vote non député bo nyin to ya bondi sa foton ya jenkendi karala bari ko be la fila ka murnina nimbalo do man sakunda e sa marokenan jor ñakuto la membe den ni ka fay ko digital tax invoicing system moment be kodo ni be kodo kan na mabula inda men jola kayto men gadda automatically ba dala internet la ta ala email la ha joro kala o system wala nimbalo do iko meolo anala siyo nyin nyawete ni ngin kar jamala de membe den ni membe den ni commission of inquiry membe la karo nyin na de so nimbalo do hanbi be standard le sandeng ye tije saba samba riman ye ye RCB kisus kan ni gada mola dimen sunci alaji dara dole be je dimba wara je fayde ni jama fajeto nimbalo do kiti lay garant ke mome sobitala ko abe drug wa folla Gambia banko kan anin kodo ka yelmandi nyakot le ka mena money laundry ka kodo senen so kitila ya sembo diala ala kodo men be Gambia la kiti bumu men ka maranyin kodi sifal le ka men freeze o talaw nyin aso bulo sufutano mala ka mena partially ni yibe partially wala nyin to ata be bonnino la bidrono la for the meantime but askala la kol topoto jeto so ngata point ni seba kibaro men bota point ni seba tumuro be laring kasotu bunton kol kan men be nyaton ko ala jeta ko be men bara kan jeto mail 2 amaga hadamadi nyati ni nata jibe e ke treat nyame ko nyin dengrato modol ye complaint men ko sobita ko ye kidol ta kata boy bitiko kan kata sunya roke Dr. Ismail Sise tumero la opposition dibitol kan ko ye Gambia tun jam fale ne wala la Santa Pablo la ko la ko men fo kan this place standard jam fanan in digital invoice fanan ya finta jam fanan ko teke la usenu dabo ko ay dia moment ko kuno ye press conference o menke ako ajibe daliti je men satina ko mol se bolo sero ke o dibitol se bolo sero ke ni nata in bilo me ya bay député bondo in lokko kono nimbodo député bon e baydo men ke diaspora kadre fawla ko ka jibe ka murnan kotake yang CEO hanin Rahim Malik Lo e be nyinen kala kono me candidate bak nimbodo date member ko Kanifing Municipal Council UNDP ila deputy le nata jeto ni nata pour ka cikandro ko fonni jawol dinkrame ka londi nyino ke dame ka men skill acquisition membo sambala nyato nyame Gambia participates in GPO wal falan na karandro ke molla membo ko journalist olte membe den marlo Kenya la ani banam mbebe kunna politiko men kono so hanbi mali ono nga continue kibarol la men sama kanale na comme fananga setback la sedo nga sedo nyadi internet failure lam na force emission on yin tada zero fo nga ta kote ke fresh wala tinako mutana kote ke ka kulta men si lamoy no na force fonko yinto na initial portion on yinto so nga continue hanbi be kibarol benefit like point in seva so ngata ila national news hanbi mbolto sainteng ekafmena baby asura second fulanjang ila edition yin ul santem betembo mento ko be ma ko ro men ke kan dinkral men be ko jokadu nembodo ada borodo wiye yin kunu afindale ka vice sniper ko fennam chemigalolem ka ta ka yin tumbol junjungala pour ka tumbol fa bari eko yala ya condemn la non sa wada mutu nan banko kan ko rege yibo mol alat kam men so ngada voice yunsiba ngaje ko turo dawo diamta ako baro nyanda ka hakilo tu baro yamarla mo sabala sila ko kalamuta mo saban sa funyamen en sa foron es saba ti aitan de wala nyan turo dawo advice baro to be aware of 3S. Olam along abe wala kole bambandi kang baroye in saboni bari ati aitan di nyame nyimu fenneti threatening his party in molti men ibala patio ebe amantora kande mantoro men be ko ka patio nyin iba mol silandi kanjel so ni borodo ngata my fati ako dibidol MP liye bankudul barandi de bankudul ni nata jibe nying ako voice by rejecting draft constitution comme nyin draft constitution o men ya bay dibide bungoto teng so ngata kartal down la airport cocaine case men gambe de lulle ba ko ko hakito de high court le Ibrahim Jete nyatile la assembly moves closer to new election law as diaspora voting clause drop eko mitembo mendo dibide mo be nyori kande ka jego be sutiaring carte fay loi kutola na dibide bu nyinto bari eko mitembo mendo diaspora wol ila dinkramen ya adopta carte fay la bilo nyin kono so anin fanan ko de jiare invoice system o membe ko enhanced tax transparency ben satina ase barro ke no kolle ka mena ko lankena mola pour ka revenue collect bank ko nyinka so in brigama mo charge ko ay dalasi wuli mo anin kilen awle tapale amol bula kaka visa la bondi negriya dingo do ya sorong sanji lulu ya sorong wala iko aboita mole kanka balobe barama so ina mo kibarol timen ngeje ani fanan ko dege iko ye mo fulas ta ye sambariman wala kata kiti watin jeto ko ye fengol la sunya membo ko cemento anin pus holte embodo West Coast Regional la Football Academy diro ke la fonnin ke wala champion so ina mo ke walo men bodo boys ni ziba ngata ko masai anaji be kirfato la kibaro ngawto fanan samana kirfato la kibaro nyin wala mo yinti ko be on the National Assembly isonta na hani bi de dalasi million kilo la pour ni la frega la president de Gambia banko kan ila nomination yenta ka wala jo si Dr. Ismail Cisse ako hanbi man sekunda wa fare na pour ka constitution ko to so de Gambia banko ka Dr. Ismail Cisse kilo nyin ate tumiro la UDP enin independent men kafta nyoma banko la kabalam banko la constitution ko to nyinda la miro be wolto but follow men tambita about for de dumala jang ngamen fono standard news ba wala mu meyolo anem Pablo kata me sungutu ne do fa ka fa ko arono tin be kitiyolo kono ñin tembo ñindo indol be inquiry kono so nimbaɗo to jang Darboe ako kamen nga folo ñamin na headline o Darboe ko ñin 2024 draft constitution ka bay député bungo ñin to ako moti mo bolo sayla wala so nani balang jang koto ge police oli mo samana men nata CDR lati Pablo Jabe kilon ñin Portuguese Guinea Bissau dingo ñin na kis ñin to député bungo e bayro ke mo sono men jumala sambana jeta wala Kiang West pour ka muru ka jibero ke diaspora la close member ko 14 men ya abondi system kono je ka itani nyamen a drop tale so wala na movement na tade ko hanbi ñin dinkrabe ya a drop le so badino inal mo briefing di men sura ñatle wala ja nga muru ko mangata kibarol fawto la vitamin sambala lena santembe tembo mento ning yibe na tom nelo nyembe aba awe betiaren tujeto nga move forward okay it's going it is okay so saying ngata this place how to call it standard nyese ba nga follow ex bodyguard membe ko jamela ex bodyguard lamati kafaya Boubacar Sane atem former bodyguard na former Gambian dictator ya Jammeh men ye arrest no kabring inane sorong for allegedly ye tum men ko e ferol landi pour kada ka kudeta ke 2017 sang kono ka barola masakunda boyndi ya itani nyame broken his silence metembo men do ko abe dewmen na anatna diamule de inata jibi in a rare personal interview comment ata fan kola interview la moyinde 2017 sang kono nyin chew nyin Sane ko aning mo worowla kotan men ida kunta sa fotom former president ya Jammeh ala brodo fanan bi wol kono le ka fay ko yaya bere Jammeh menu ye sorong sanji kono do kaso nyina na kitidula membe ko sojal fon ko la kiti o men ki ka fay ko court martial ye tumu munadro ko e ferol le landi ka boyn droke man sakunda membe ko president Adam Barrow la man sakunda ada obi 2020 sango nyen kono ati mr sada nyin aning adonyol teng men ye muda wa akitat ye bulale na plana cool bebe itongola ye sorom men na kitidula nyin do appeal court damen ko treason wala ila fita banko la mansa kunda le boyndi la wala treason di wati nyanyin inatno bondi tongo dale ye mutanum menna ila court martial comme ifango donyol e kiti o men kosi kan wala sojarol fonte o kamala joji musu saba wala sita te nyin appel court nyin to damen inatna ke kilimba kilometer ka mena unanimously sonda nyin sorondro membe ko sanji konon do nyin ya jenkende karla ka bondi tongoda e mella nyin keyol nyin sojarol ten yemen sorong 2019 sankon o kamala sani anatna la ala niku ya koli tandi ka mena kol men lata kan ka mena audience membe digring kol men imaneta baba ba ke de sakoni nata membe den ning atefang be men kanda kan ala legacy brutal legacy men sotota ya jamela marlo nyin kodo non fo mbenga lo nyamen walam halamadiya nyantati nyamen sotota gedo men bo kono butiri jawjaw ani fana don kamo chode do ita ya fa ani banan kaji ko ka kujama sammanan membe den ning jumal kake aman sum fenna o mojawol men ka kumandi jonkla sollaten ya jamela marlo nyin kono abdiam ka wato men na on his arrest comme kabriye muta ate ye soron fanan ka yitandi ko inum sinya foloti kadiamo soto interview soto nyin konyin na anin journalist si ka kaja na ka yitandi nyame that ka fo mata tv sane anatna mune fo ko atim mol inatna mune fo katam mol de men commando la mati so jarol la karonyin na men maintain his innocence hanbi ako atam molti kayum ko men fote kawmel la ate ama tugurgi ama mel membe denning comme kaji ko mol kamen fo ay kuleke amanyanna menkela abes anim fana be sen yandro kala fedda menna etol e kaso men kela o kaso nyin e filola kete jede baba ke e manko wol jibe e soron dalil ka ay nyi tan di jeto ko at la story nyin at la tarigo nyin men imufeneti emblematic of the broader struggle komang mukuletong katakol ning ku kolon men be laring nyabetul ne by many Gambians Gambia dingol teng in katakuleti caught in the political uphill olam na bankola political nyinkono kabring ya jamme ya bondi semboto mo jamale kole akoso to sako itul fawla tarikola karonyin o kamala kumandro men keda safura ay hakil bulando ke kodol following his return covering abotanang peacekeeping la bedamento Darfur Sudan nina da gibe 2017 sango kon kabirana he was accused ya tumiko anin do kodol men be ko sojarol ten ko be lafrinka yada arambarola mansakundale boyne o ka atafan overthrow ako we were accused to men na wala nyinti ko nga WhatsApp group wala da o WhatsApp group je nga kacha dame be planol tabandla nyamem membe ko ateo whole saga nyi men ya foko datita wati juma July 17 men karo men konda nyong 7 tiltani worowla 2017 sang kon ya barosita sangmen ako I remember receiving a call aka hakilo bulata ko ya ay commandro commandro men abota ila sojar nyaton golia military police men bugo police men sojar kono jeto ati fajara barako nyito ko that I should immediately report komang ya commandi jeto kataba ga nyantana dankula I men for officer I was on leave belly for lade bari he insisted bari balanta ko that I should answer forse kon anyantana la kane danko amantra do ko la nyana bari me akumandi ko anyantana la kane dang when I arrived kabra frodai he asked my ngininka to give him my phone ala telephone awala follow kaninga bulo anim fanan then kalam tangin nako inform me komen ga itandi ko I was on the arrest komen molam sa ninku mo bitola Morocco ya mutal I asked him komen angininka muneketa and then Kiona na memfa me command some other soldiers and soldier koron are suspected yola fa ko alla fida mansakunda la boy in the democratic elected government no membe Gambia banko kan arambaro be men nyaton ka kan sane I men recount I men sata ala kumol kono nyene keda muta nyati nina da gibe ko ka continue I men itan dikote ko wala ngindiko ako ya samba minto to a board of investigation kafo lesson mem nyaton ko lamu kisiro kala kola ya nginin ka ko many unnecessary question many manna fasoro and it was later kola lamu na realize ko some senior soldiers nyaton go do be soldier are going around line or little kata be fanya foka it will karonyen na mantra sorting some of us it will found them who were close to jamme men fong sutiarin jamme le tolteng raw kuma sifalfo just to gain feneton police sute no nyame ni mansakunda kutoko no ketol ta ke tumi kula ben amanke dalilot amambo dalam cause itol ni na lagibe we were reported report then CDS ya membe jenu masane kinde kiango nyen who reportedly informed na kuma kango nyen futande mansakunda ma an was told ye memfa to deal with the matter walatin ana mali nyanda kana nyen ko tamande itol military level nyi sana I mean itande wala yinde ko akote he was later taken to the NIA somebody NIA kulo police olia on 11 occasions sinya tang aninkileng anifana ka force ko akason I song ka memfa I song wala I tonya fo ka mena confess but abalantale among song kuma fola they did all the investigation yela kisirol bekele anifana then kabria kumfa ako that I mastermind the coup coming iko atla motimen fango being kudeta koma kaitu menere it was later that kabro kola lemo ati ako intelligence team men ya sute ko that the allegation against us were false comme men mi kisiro kala police kullo police wolto ya jela ko nyimbe mu faniyalti ye tumiro le kam men aman soto ina da giwe anana men fo le ngindo ko after serving 5 months in communicado ya buladula to dama anem mo boka nyoje kaso nyindo jeto 5 months karlulu that they were arena nene samba military court nyatla nyinna ka mena court martial yundum barako nyindo ina duna Owaroling who remanded them. Daming ye remand mile 2 in Aragibako. We had a triple experience at mile 2. Ninkung we told Sinyasaba, Ninkung also to mile 2. Kasoyindo that ako ate. I don't wish for my was hanning a jawfang amalafi ala enemy puru wodinkra nyindo kata jedo wala mile 2 yinde sana be mem foka sana la kumol kumfa langinda yamaro di men ko commended foni kansala dibito memmo ko almami jiba men alote fe baba ke throughout the court kiti o wato ina sako court martial nyin and later aning men keta fanan nyin appeal court men ye acquit and discharge da men to I men itan so ngara na Justice Minister member ko this man I idan do menge constitutional la ko be murla komale at la idea I mean sama na bari ya reject la so ka continue Dawda Jallo comme Gambia la man sakunda la Justice Minister ye men kankula wala nginde ko constitutional member ko Gambia la constitutional la promulgation bill be ya samba député bu ngendo feltale ko ka jabani soto la fitan menna pro ala second reading al se futano je nyamen député bu ngendo July kunung nsafu kunung ko on the 7th ka jego ate ñun draft constitution ñing mo tan saba député sitting members ol men sonta kola anilul bo tan saba ni lul ani fanan men man la fala wala mo mo anin killing sitting members ol o kamala with one member absent mo kilinda ma wala banna na député bu ngendo je député ol gon ko nyaji be this outcome men sota ñing fall short of the constitution wala tinna ko imasut no itol nyanda ka damen timmani ka be damen na loi itan nyamen threshold wala tinna ko constitution no nying pro kaje ko 3/4 wala nya konti sidlan nani sidla sabo nyanda ka fasa imanna wasut no wala député tan nani anin nani katre ke so janta wala fayla ka tambin o kama nyaji be député ol be nya ka fu nyoma na dinkara ngento tallul anin selam bari ñim proceeding mo fenneto to the consideration stage wala a fota a filter all the time o kola ni na daji bilo ñing will not advance at terminal nyaata nin ko fay muru koma be to kotake o bilo ñi in the legislative process ni na loi de la karoñen ko men na ko ñin to so jeto wala represents a setback ñin sa lo min dole wala commencer wala so jeto ni na daji be bankola kada ko men be kering hamola pour ka falindro ke kolle ka mena bankola maral kam ñing ate be men fo ko do ko ka mena framework pour ka bambandro ke na bankola democracy na ka dul sansang loi men be ko entrench the rule of law wala marlo men aning loi bita nyola kota bambalde ka je sansam ani wana ka je ko kanata tasoro falindro min yanda gele ga min transitional justice mention abulo following mem comme kabring sangi tanjamala Gambia banko mune be yeto fansu marlo authoritarian rule ka continue hanibi aba yitandi gam ko tege ako fanan authoritarian governance all be yeto while the government is profoundly ko bari intambola man sa kunla yin itolu betembo mento ebe men yitandi kam ye nikuya kuba anin bonkotola men sotota sako ninada ka itandi nyamen député bon men keta jeto ako ye bunya ke ninada député ol ila loi de danyala le ite sawno la jela ito libe o bunya kan o kamala ngin maral bu ko nying ni mu feneti atlemu bankola loi men ka mena cornerstone nyama cornerstone wala baraba me fengo mota fengo men be laring sendolka so cornerstone bere bamu constitutional tulbaita ndika nyami ni mu feneto tina ko to reset the Gambia's democracy pour kana Gambia la democracy da koteke ko nyin draft constitution o nyin oti mu woldi ya iten ni nyame be metalla islanje ko banko si taman ro keno democracy la principle ol kan just and justice accountability and fanan ko unpopular sovereignty banko mfango se mbara mfango la no nyamen constitution la ko bamban ko nyaji be kol na resolve kol men nyanta ke to poto pour kaji ko nyanta men kela wan gola constitutional reform men ba fo kan de sa be tembo men do men amanya na ka bai fra wa atande ko bangola constitution o pour ka murka gibe la process ni ka dati covering 2017 with the enactment wala falindro men kita kono luala karola ina da gibe constitutional review wala fola dati o acting ani bana no or acting no but 7 of 2017 na ka quality which received presidential assent men president yala signalo katle on January 11 2018 to constitution of men Saturday 2017 song nyinkono ka continue ko culminating into the establishment membe be katin ni nyokan ka londroge fen bangola constitutional review commission onye membe kafun nyamoje ka kumani CRC ka to sudian membe ko mentara fo karitan anisei extensive consultation ninata ifra ngolla banko karo bela tu ka ngolla opinion ta pro animpanang mene betiada ay kenna maral kan inda across the country animpanang hani gambe don dol membe sir banta jang CRC yona ya samana draft constitution into the president baro okela sanjumale 2020 obilo nyen yola follow fa oda jallo abe mem code kan teng bari atama nyenna ko to code go satle fam brain child yo go constitution kaje ko kana yela man di jankot la men kala lono ngata sai membe ko voting ko nyem membe denni diaspora ko nyina men filtanu sai nga gibe e men yitande e ko la fobe kerne e be parene pour gaje ko clause 14 provision bunda membe ko tanni nan membe loring gambe dion membe banda ila carte faw ko kunna pour que da keno gambe la carte faw nyindo pour ka murna biloni which would have enable member tina ko gambe dion membe sirim bantala se da keno bankola electional do ina da give their basis overseas be sirim ma faw men na bantala men feltanu bari la biteka samanano but niaji be ko bunda men call folola ye men bondi jeto after walam 25 members from the majority momwang anilul men bodel jamani kono e ga itan yama mol men be kafru nyoma ye debito le ga fo caucus voted against it in March karo kono ol balanda kola bari kono the representative of Kiang West Kiang dibideo member ko Lamin Sise ay mosono sambanan dibide bonyin to reconsider pour dibide bon se murnan ka kibero ke yinsim fame ya taten ka murundro ke nan close 14 na koteke membe sulo ke kan ka jeko pour ro provision onyin men kumata bake pour nyato tala karola ka tenko sambanan within the country banko nyin gang ala political landscape ne modron banko la political be banko kan nyame banko mo beka and I also mentioned I tend to get a recent ruling on diaspora voting among comment tambida diaspora katrefaola kola by the Supreme Court ulfana county la kwa anyanta kila ko bangdon anyanta ka kartofa men be diaspora ila nyantolem ke register ka kartofa bankola electional to then I ulfana itandi gedo ado be majority leader membe ko Bleji Tungara adnana bayro ke koyin na ko ko atawo mosono nyin and ask the presiding speaker olam pawakar o sidi njay membe sirin koko no je malan jumala be sidi njay atale be exactly to reject pour se bayro ke o mosono nyin na ko it on the ground ate ko la menka wala nyinde ko the mosono nyin ali ko mantanyola de ninada bankola insafuron deputy bon la tamandri lual korle gamen standing orders assembly nyindo wayatino ko be kando ko gan sidin jaye bayro ko mosono nyina other names député kotol men be ko Seni Jawara anin fana Lower Salem Lower Salem député ote anin fana Soebu Touré of wulle o fana mo wulle kolti wuli tili jiyo na membe ko doyla député onyin ko ina nana e fana yela bayro ke objection to the motion yo motion onyin bayle be balanka mena wala ndiko that the procedure you use a flawed comme o tamandri nyanyin wait nyarol ke it will ladin kra in a kanyin the motion onyin was finally put to a vote ina nana kadro fayala ne membe ko muang aninkili member solting many all bottom into NPP, NRP, and as well as nominated members will find independent will be independent members will be not na penalty mansong at a motion in motang and award to be told mainly from opposition will bottom into UDP and dol bota PDYs will sonda a ko nyin. So ko nyin not na dang waldo at la motion on ya ufanam fay batsala. Kaboto kata fanang jang ajibe okay ngata point is ba fonse doso de la vitamin samal lan sande membe kuma ala baki na kibaro kono let me see jang ajibe usendabo e men fo jang because time factor so young point bondi ko United Democratic Party Usenu Darboe ay nyim bambandi ko ila party nyin men dan lada setla mena ka kol tobendi meden nyin ka toporo in constitution ko 2020 draft constitution nyin ay nyin itandi ko 2024 vision nyin was a manipulation mais namo manipulation o ifon let sita ya bedu nyokono membetul foibo ka yole ke ya manipulate le so te oning nying 2020 ta lanol ate press conference o men kunu yake patio nying la headquarter la head officer in do manjay jabirola karola membe denning nyimbayro men kita ate alambarola constitution o nyina ataka kubandi nyame Mr. Darboe men kalame kan wala nyintiko ni ajibe ilayin constitution men alambara la constitution yin does not reflect among fenofende yitan the member den of the Gambian people Gambia den wala kwa mantra lord la clean la jeto o kamala ko follow la kunung ibe me yitan de ka wala yinte ko patio jalairoke bage revised draft table men ketaten by the executive olam nyaton kolten olam ya adam baronala mol for a second reading minister mensamba deputy bongo nyinto ka itandinya being doctored to advance what it called the personal ambition of President Adama Barrow ya dale ya danyani purudrong Adam Barrow fan fongola kunna kodama ala nafakan alhamo menti o bilonyin o constitutional data wale kang ate baitandi kanyam ako B ni ajibi we honor and celebrate the 21 courageous National Assembly members B be na be mol be jurala membida fo député mo anin kilome atinna ko nyin constitutional fata comme ñinu mu molti hamo sodo hamo men in député bongo nyindo in members solten who voted against mene karto fay Adam Barola nyin doctor constitution o nyi abaytande kan nyame ka continue ako nyin documento manipulated ya tale ya yelamandi fango ya adiate nyame ya sefole nyama pour donc selfish ambition ifangola kunna nafa hamo menti la fita mensur la Gambia de kungo kan ye wala kijeto manna na kukije mensina ko kuti ase banku de nafa rada e mawkede ifangola kunna konyin membe ko sago Adam Barrow ya manipulate ye wala da kon o kamala ko statement to nyin men ya sign wolum jumati ka fay ko tombon sedi Darboe statement to men karam UDP la administrative secretary anila media and communication ole mu moti me in kuma kan sign. According to the UDP, UDP la kuma kaunyin, ye meitan de nyim bayro men keda, nyim bisanola men medening, nyim constitutionola, departed significantly from 2020 draft, which was previously developed through nationwide consultations. Olam nyum bisano nying ming ibalantala teng men medening bota mintole ka yadi 2020 kabirin adilata men ko folola irwa men sotota ati nyin constitution la karola banko mu me bekang ye fota nyono men ka molla kenyi ninka 2020 constitution ngina kamala partiyo nyin e tumiro la mansakunda kan be men nyini ka wala nyindi ko to remove key safeguards comme den kral men e kantaro ke bankola kolla anim banku de wala ye wolta o dunkira kumal ko bondi bankola constitution ko men bol kono loi bundal men be ko on a presidential term limit sago president la term limit ni president adama baro abe mem pare kan wala ngi to go nyin draft constitution men kita the data 2020 sango nyin kono ye wala hajak yata ya atamol bulu forcé o constitution yene for his own agenda ina na fansulta la yol bula kono ya itandi ya tola 2024 ya frandi damen membe denning ko term limit and entrenching term limit ngina karola anin fanan ke fansansa marlola karonyina was a direct assault nyimu fenete boy control mbol democracy nyi kan kina ba katango tambon sedi kuma kamo bari thanks to the unwavering stand of these men kita bidwa kam moli men be ko nyin député mo anin kilo nyina men balanta ko nyina ko gambe don have been spared from a dark path wayatina ko gambe don Canada de wato me abinakala wati dibirim bati ika menna ko fansum maralo anin fanan constitutional manipulation wolum nyin constitutional men yata ya dun sala kala lateng comme to bon sir la kuma kan le woto ngata fonse dabo e ben karang nyin kumul ba kan le because atle musafer lati dabo kana ka karang press nyinto so ngajibe let's go to another story men chageno for so in samana Dr. Sise ngataji to ay tumiro mella let me see elatem molita nyalu UDP ngajibe ay tumiro mella UDP kan anin fo UDP holding Dr. Ismaila Sise abediam kan West Coast Radio nyento ila bendula nyento ate ay jalay roki bage député bungoto ngajibe something simplement tata jeto ko bayro ke lanyin constitution men dawo ko ya manipulate le ya dida behind the door closed door so abetiam ka wato men nanyin draft constitution men ya bayta during the second reading men anyanta talal thing ako ateme mira wala nyinti ko oppositional men be deputy bungin to member ko the UDP aning independent deputy men ikafuta nyoma wala na molta ka bomol koto o kamol bali ka mena deprive Gambia dengol bali ni na tagi be tumola sinana na constitution kuto so ko meto le men darte to yaje ko wala bukela Gambia no la constitution so nginal barata wala ye balala na tenda men fa ko they should have let it pass ko nyanta ka bula tambi puru asifuta simfa ko tan nyindo damen ka jasna sotno ko men kaje ko purudong to take place and let the Gambians decide wato Gambia sinana simfalta akonyindo o kanana kuta yin constitution yin kodo bari moli mengi to ko hani ni o keda don ibe kutle la bari to le siata wayatna ko jang asiyo yanda kutlol do latna ya bare yemen ko dola nyim fanan the same thing tit for tat is a fair game comment jero nyindo moli dibite woli je ani mol fana yole so atebe wolde claim kan comme ya bula den no ay futa negotiation la nyindo an mol ko tekela Dr. Sise kila itan to ko comme nyim bayro nyin as both unwarranted men na faman sota la ku mote ko kule itan no la daylo men aka balankan ko dagi be draft constitution afana kan le puru kaje ko kala ko nyin ka tambin ni nyato ina da gibe ka continue kote ke ate me itana ko it is very unfair ko nyim mantile mumeke akabe men na wala ngite ko if you are to to be frank naata be kala tonya moti in kola karola ako there is no reason dalio del man sirje kanyin ta ka fa in constitution men abe in stage men ten ka fa woto asiyo kunti jedo so adla ko mo hanim man jafo je kotoge bari itol yajibe ni ko ya warta pangudum lalla finna ko ite o bandige yeta kije ko wala nyanta kalo. So let me see time factor before so bali hanibi me when ngada this place I would call it mofula kuma kaun samana ada troda men vision development foundation na CEO nying ego chome me go Mr. Trodawo atlem modi men vision development foundation atlem nyaton koti anadna yamaro di wato men na be diam kan interview aning in chiwar bunda me ko voice newspaper nyingala lunju wala walam talata lungi ay president Adam Barrow jay baba kede as a humble man mo ako mo sonear ba mo kende ba a good man bari I meant for some close allies mo dol bije men be kafran ala wol beti nyaro ke kan ala al halo nyin lali asakala nyaton ka yakor itan ro ki nyame wala nyin digo ako nyin sabo wala this in sabol are not bringing people to National People's Party ako nyin in sabol wol mantra mol sambanan kan ala patio nyintire atebe même fo kan san Adama Barrow wala muntito ako they are only driving supporters ibe nyim patio la fasa bali be wolel bay kam patio nyen kono ina da gibe he remark itan droke ko political mufenneti not about insulting amanya na kila nen roti anim fanan ka mol silandi ako political manya na kila otide troda mem fo kan Adam Barrow Mr. Darboe anadna na mo killing bondi ni mol kono membe ko sidi eske njay anim mo fanan membe ko sa furo mo fula wala dusano as an example awulke taman seroti ko politician men he respect akai bunya di wala bakele itan ni jame wala ngintu moldi be lorin president federal loyal nimbu nyala karola adim fanan nyunu keta moldi ye brijo didano len safurong choknyolo ka kenole pour patio nyana karol Sidin Jai is very loyal to Barrow ako sidin molati men aba loring Mr. Adam Barrow baba kele aba itandi kan nyame dusano fanan ati kilomala men aka mo jamala samana patio nyento yimu kulati men ako whoever you are that momor nada itemu politic lalet abe men foka bari ate Darboe kilo nying membe ko Yakuba Darboe Modus Darboe sorry I men long wala nginti ko ako sanji jama decades of charity work ko ya long wala ka salaldi nyim ala sulo fana itan de bake men keta ni ko yati anim bon ko la membe caring Gambia la radio television service o membe ko GRTS ko national broadcaster elam bangola dinkrati damen banko be den men kibar bondo nin kuko don abe men kalami kan wala nyindi ko nyinu ye kanol di la kamen puru e kana bula no kan ka je ko atebe ko kela puru ko ta ko findindi banko nyinkan ko nyin men fo kan hanin ate in sangol men be tamidate ni ala tariko jibe abitebe man sakunda la do ko akolel timmandi kata ko la karola yirwala atila do ko mo dammalde abe hakil bulando kela ko wato menna woken with aning ngia skilongo be do ko ke ka men tara fo sangi tan saba ani be do ko la but signing nyin president ko men fanga ba fo kan wo ya jamme fanga ko hu men afoko nyin namanan kuntunte pour ka coverage kay ala project ko la be men tamandi kam banko kam bari barola man sakunda natna wala ako niagibe if these new people come ni mokurul men nata geto sa GRTS ya foko ko ate ala project teng dawo mo ete atala ka kowa ko kuwati jakal bake ako ate ay muneke abe ngini ngaro ke kam menna men aman silota ako I am only complimenting ndebe fen ke kan man sakunda me wala makoy kan me la kol dame man futano dame fana sembo dame si afutan dino jeto I mean itan so ako I have nothing against that man kuku soto barola karola men safoko amambetea ako I have nothing against any political party and hanim fana political party koton fana aba me itanika dabo ay balanda inna ko he would continue ate abe continue ka diamu membe den sifatan fanso be ke Gambia banko kan kanana chikanto ke fenna wala national unity banko ke kilemba kilamote ngasi ko janken ni karala akabe diamu wala abe continue la ako atlafram no Gambia kilam one Gambia and one people more kilometer one nation banko kilometer ko what I will preach I will preach la wala ni nada ye kawand la wala until fala lulla bawni ati aitandi nyame abe kumandro ke kampesan ala barola si ulai mamang nyin koyina if he doesn't latra namoke sa hakilo to bake molla be mem fokanden ako nyin esabo men aba fokanden ko ati baro nyin will lose a lot of his good people imbatin nala ko abe fola la mo jamala meno ebe lafren ala kola namani esabo nyin ama hakilo tuto esabo ndenga ajibe ngamen sambanan nina da na thumbnail nyin natalu lembe jeto es jamala be ngamen be kafun nyum yin be konton o to adata esle so fulabeje awol fole wol data ko kon olam dusano ning CD SK njait in be estoto ila particular signal kon so sai in resment reye altulla ba gibela fo demba sabali mod sabali and the other person let me see wala mo sabalam wala itan so nyam mo sabol ten wolu bekala mo kolon de dama sabali mod sabali anin escorting men ibe mol bay kante wala mo CDC mo samuto CDC mod sabal dama sabal ol seke molti men ni esabo aba bulo chode kan wala because ngaje ko nyino itulela kuma kamal boga dia ela kumol ka kolea hani mol bota pati kono instead ke nani ke kango nya ke murna no ibe kuma kuron la folema o dolbe mol treating kan so ntenga je ko nte through my analysis nte nyi mo sabo ntenga mbulo chode wala la abe wala la so atuta lamoira lebulo animen being paper lain lunkira karanna voice ifan sa tenten no ala kuma kama men itan ari immo fulo la all single out la ko mo la di men they build a bridge gap membe molning patio tema kaje ko ka mol samana patio jento but the rest amo fo la karol nen drolem mosilando donc ajibe ko mostly mo sababu je ni mol akabolel da threaten indo bukan ndroga be threaten o ka ke damba sabalete sisi oboka kuma kendof mod sabal fanam boka kuma kendof so yinam kot so nga continue ngata nga give whether we can bring another story let me see what time was fonga wato do fanam bula la vida audio samal na la usenda wala audio nyin at say ngata pepe men safi atila full speaking ngamen karang tombon sedi la kuma kan wala karang ni ata gibe so ngata gibe fonse da wala speaking sa tres no ambe jam fala domani okay ngata auto sai mem kerfatlo bonni etulia kunung ya record le ya cover live aning black cotton jama yo wato men na be press conference in kekang dia mo men lawyer Hussein Darboe yake membe den in bilo e failure men soto to advance pour ka continue ala second reading into National Assembly. Mr. Darboe I mean for into go the party to la party does not feel apologetic. Well, it'll imagine ko inyanta ka bolosaro ko fiona fen la party membe den ila member so la dibitol thing ye karto men fighting in ada give an ye menke wolen ka tumiro ke mola membe den ya tumiro la moka membe ko president Adama Barrow of occupation atle yin ko be samana president Adama Barrow atle yin maka on be bigeren constitutional fail yin do atle be orchestrate atle be okay kan ayo tumi wala bakide ka continue through a process coming adila nyala an fanan abi men kalame kan lack of transparency among entro ke mume ke atin constitution me fon la banda sefela ten ina da Gambia din kendol pour ka futema ke nginin ka comme follow to taketa nyame akate men fola ala fita men fola wala nyindi ko ila party men ko United Democratic Party atol maje ko to nyanda ka bolo sero ke kokula men biden in karte fa men kata ten ina da gibe député bon nyindo konon ko abe jam ko wato mena ko it was one that is expected wala koti molbe illa memma men yanta kala jeto député wala ke la député and if nata anything happen other than that nata ku ko kete men ne o mangi kilinda ko be kala woni we would feel that our National Assembly members have indeed betrayed the Gambian people. Nata ni menkita no mangi oton sinaje ko na député bungo ye bonkoto ke jamfala ke Gambia de woni Darboe men bambane kam bari ye menkita nyanta wala ke lata be men foka UDP la nyaton ko nyin ay tumiro ke ko in 2024 draft was designed ya dida nya nyin was to fail draft was designed to fail ya dida men ifangal nako abe boyle le député bonta titano ala kuma kawal ko ka men fo kan asatin idan do ko ala kuma kawal ko president Adama Barrow anala minister thing circumvent inclusive consultation jankara karole e manson tilo tala silo membe ko ka fota molla ka procession sinake no in favor of what he described como mentionake modole nafade as a unilateral draft constitution comme neo ngatron fankoto ka continue ko design failure comme yadanya me aboyne wala ngindi ko draft constitution no nyi anim fana ala boyo nyi ko that was designed the mal yadda at a president forum yadda wala Barrow katuko nyaki be de nyu yala nako all along that men being enter kana bring in another document ka kaiti kote sammanan document thing membe go at draft nyi into the National Assembly député bon nyinto pour kachala without a proper consultation ite lafita mollina men kacha bankola kaito nyi ite ni mol imam futa nyoma kacha kola ya samanan député bon nyinto men kacha man kala men se betia with a proper consultation of an manson wala fail ako wabe fail lale automatically I mean for reportali men be jeto safer lalde ka kolte Mr. Darboe who previously men ate served as a foreign minister ketanum foreign minister de Barrow kilo mansa kunda nyinto de under Barrow before the two parties parted away politically janning ebe farla nyobal atarano agada foreign minister and vice president au be kijel bari abalanda men ndron wala nginti ko in constitution of America for 2020 men CRC men de la ko which was self after falling short of the required votes kamang abi men dandi gang wato men ya sambaje anadna ke kuliti men imanna na nanka mo soto karre ke sola puru katambi député bon nyindo e mankita o kamala ingeda kuliti men should have been reintroduced ingenda kade kilona murna ya nyangi ne ka kola puru asinano kote ke nyame baitul moke na na tenda me itande wala indiko UDP hanbi wol lor mento don wala constitutional reform hanbi falendro ngenda gala bangola constitutional ko bari only nata if driven by popular nata jama waleli ya sabo kambe wala fema samana namanke kambe team jama kono yes ibe sonnola and not imposed by the executive de kala kuti men na minister ni president amaro ibe wala la molka ibe men la molka forcé mol son la men ako hani ay men yitande UDP ebe balanna kaje ko any in position ko nato kusi falam membe den mol la ko la Gambia banko kan itol be balanna washita kaje ko ka ko semendi ako ila patio nyin hani bi itol ibe lor nyamen kabrin la long standing commitment be pareo la anin sobea democracy be larin sarfol taman bi kan menge ka menna principles Mr. Darboe abi balanning ko that any constitutional law ko nara constitutional law must emerge ayanta bolna minto walam from the free will mol famala kano ay betarle fambul mote forcela walam jumalti Gambia mol not be imposed upon them atikela kuti men yi mol forceto mindi jila jeme malla fi kamemme ala kumo corona nata ka mol sonde kule malla fi men atikela woti ka continue da wala kuma ka on kono ako UDP be larin men na wala nginti ko any law nara law lem particularly sako membe ko bankola maral kan nyanta kala fennati most basic and fundamental law avec kala law kumalu anim fadan law be larin men law koto cannot be an imposition atikala law men mo kenda mala ko anyanta kala world. It must be one that comes out. Men anyanta bolna minto walam free will of the Gambians atiba itanikang nyame. Free will. Molla la foka. Ako mebem foka wala nyintiko. Gambia dengol Gambia molte. Ala constitutional is what resonate. Wala nyanda kala koti nyanda fola animfana with us. Resonate with us. And that is why we have always stood for it. Wati pre at constitution murnang wala 2020 and constitution mekela Gambia on account and we will continue ebe lola ebe konnala kallo ni nata de kukila la abe itandika abe murukanga la kumol kan abe ka mena recreated that comme UDP la karo yena wala ngindiko has long advocated a mete be diam kande pro molla constitutional process onyeng itol bole diam kan constitutional men molle faya dida banku dengol teng e be lodon wala fi be wala fanan kankula kan wala nyanda kala constitutional ay men isenyandi wala nyande ko ila pati onyeng itol be men lori men kan ila doko muneti kabring ala lo ni sande 1996 sango nyen kono in pushing it will be men nyorikan rong banko democratic reform wala nyanda kala banko kan wala londi ndo hanibi bole puska ka continue kol kum fadula nyindo ako we cannot allow President Adama Barrow to sonna mumeke ka President Adama Barrow bula aning fanang ala APRC kafuyol thing to impose on the Gambian people a constitution that we do not deserve. Ka constitution di molla force men Gambia dengol mammen kano akote sonna mume ke nyim party fulol wala president Adam Barrow la party yo aning APRC alliance nyim ala kuma kan kun fata dame so wala mo la Usen Darboe member ko UDP party la nyaton ko nyim mata agiwe fonse audio jebi men sekuma bake ki samana le sometime audio ka tarde le janne be fudala oni audio man fudansa abula je fo wuraro okay ngada time when some men so samana Musa City, idea moment, I think so. We are forward, like what I give you.
Yo, assalamu alaikum. Badin Gambian Kolu. Alnal Badin Malo Musa Sedi. Konsina bi talata lumbala. Ka Gambian ko be konton katum famata audio o bondila. Nduntan na Islam sankuto kono. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Nse mari mansatalla tentu. Fasen be ma bendi jari fanantala. Nimbota woto nse sangol fanalu konton katun ni watin kono na banko kandita domanding mo kende jama bije minuri ya lonko ni watin kono fotela nse duwe fo Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala se arjana dawso dila mimbo ko Sheikh Ousmane Fati Haidara na jele ni watin kono abantanu burfut sate o kono se duwa e baake fo Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala se arjana firdauso diala aya badingol minul to duniya jang fo Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sa sabar juso di wolula fango be mbari muso inketa Sadio Fati Haidarati mba konton na sangora nala kabilo nala dimba yalu be konton na sango nyinna yo nataje kotake NUP la presidential candidate nte fangola keba kende min keta Ablaye Jammeti ale o fana min jio doya min lokungo min tambita tenting nyindi maso nse duwa o fana ye baake anin sawante fure to malube fo mari man satallasi nemonin kafaro keye aye dundi arjana firdauso kono asela sadamun ko mendi ila badingol bulu asem fama asifa moyola asake banko e kaira bati asetel fanalu tadula fisiandi ibodulati nimboto ton se sasa tolu fanalu se duwe fo mari man satalla sinni besu jata kende ala asen na banko sutura asen so kaira bala duniya dawda ase kairo sabatinde duniya kono yo badin Gambian kolu mbe molu fanalu tentula baake minul kan kumandi minul kan safe kaitan nako mfamata kela audio moy koriman sasa hani man sasa tanaw tanatenna mkafenke baake Facebook ole to baake bare tanaw tanatenna bare mbal tentula baake al telefona lawo hakili nyima mi yalonko kante fanana bunda konkon kanjube mbe nyaadi misal tentu wala baake ngal jay yo nimbota woto badingolu nsinadum kacha kono bawo nyi watin kono be ngajele Gambia banko kan ku jamal lebe tama kanje birim politiko kono Gambia dingul la baluo Kenya kono aning be kuma jamal moy kan Gambia dingul la jata kende a bunda to katanna bankola fanko karola anim fanam fango nata political party la ma kangol moy minulu ya lonko be kering bari mbedi yamala fanna fulalla mi ya lonko kunun tanel lungo be ngajere député bungo to duta baake député olu tata je pour ka draft constitution mi ya lonko barona la minister Dauda Jallo fansansang luami ilafta kadum Gambian kolbul ka jimondo dun tel bulu ntel ngete law kuo ta nkana long no Gambia fo kumbala fo fenyetala barin sa long ko dron ko mollebe sirin Gambia kungo kan milbe nafaso kan Gambia dinglu mantara balu nyima kono barin se député olu tentu député muan anin killing minulu ya lon koy balanta ko nyinna inata adrafo nyin fay banta so mbe tembo min to bi kamim manendi moliye ka fo moliye ko otonal man sonyinna ya jamme constitution wala betula ya jamme constitution wala be marakan kabrin 1997 fokana bula bila yo mbe dipitol tentulaw to baake ntedu naw diamo kono baake mbe watole juubelan sina o ko kacha gambiankol ye yo lafita min kachala bi wala mu nyinti ko ni watin kono mo fanana diamo be siarim baake min keta honorable Mama Kandete yo wo Mama Kande mba moy kanko Mama Kande nyanta iko Adama Barrow be Mama Kande no kan pour ka abonda la patioto pura na la patio e la nyokan pour Mama Kande la patio GDC fanning Adama Barrow la NPP pour ise la nyokan ka alliance okay yo ngaw ko diamle Facebook oto nin kombe o diamla ni audio to jang be jam fala domandi bari mbeñum fala gambian kole ko kumo min ngunuta kulo mi yalon ka sototale Adama Barrow ni Mama Kande bentale ikachata kachani iman d'accord wole to folo bari kachani ketale katum Mama Kande anin Amad Ba wole be o kuo kono nun Amad Bale Adama Barrow Mama Kande wafu Adama Barrow ma aketa nyaadile Amad Ba anala kuo be anala tilimbalia mi yalon ko atebe ministry to be ka tilimbalia le jeje nka corruption le jeje nka je ko fenne ka ke o atebe ministry to min tilingo bukata yo baraka na muneke min keta politician o dolti milialon koy mawasa afanan ka bulo fay wol kanne mil boko may fati wolu yo wonata tarani Mama Kande tema andu Amad Ba sabu kulu sabu atele Mama Kande dundi politiko kono kabirin NRP yo politiko dum bukatano dapanso koma wala nan se UDP kol tentu baake nge jay UDP kol ke bulo bulela jibo kona doyata nyaawo nya han dolbe dala silul lekkela bari ka wole la nyokan pour ka UDP dapansi be tentro kala UDP la wala baake andum ba fala mobe ndunta sango kono kotake mi yalon ko UDP mina nyinindiro la mol bulu mobe sike wakil lati pour momo yemin sotono dron kana jube ka doyata hani ero lulolom dola lulolom dalasi lulolom pound lulolom ite min soto dron nsakeje yo Adama Barrow ni Mama Kande e bentale komi nga faale nyami Amad Bale a wafama waketano nyaadile Amad Ba ni Mama Kande dunta korda kuoleto Mama Kande la korda mimbe base sate o fango kono mafo ila sate o to de jimarade ngo base sate o fango kono Amad Ba ni Mama Kande dunta o korda la kuoleto Amad Ba nata o korda sam Mama Kande bulu dalasi million 7 bari biring Amad Ba o korda sang anata itandi Adama Barrow la ko sainde ninga bula nyin kendi ngono mamba sotolal katung abe tembo minto sainte fenta bulu birim Mama Kande ay yo kumo fo Adama Barrow fana nara simfaluta ay Musa Drame kumandi ka ko itandi wala Musa Drame fana wulita anim Mama Kande ning Amad Ba ka beng say mbiri yo beke foy pareta Musa Drame nata dimasi killing ayenyum Mama Kande la aya Samba State House bari wayatara ka chalu keta so i dakorta ku jamala inata foko silam besita Adama Barrow ya pour ka chal sika ko la nga jube so inata na tawoto biri tata Adama Barrow ya yo Mama Kande ayitandi ko kala kana kale kan wo manke tanati bari ndefana mu pati nyaaton kolete andu nimbelale kan ndefana nin sartol le nata foybe sonnaw sartol la Adama ayitandala mun sartlo woti yo Mama Kande ayitandala ko jannimbelale kan ebe palaso le dilan na folo sain Adama Barrow nata jube ko etebe la flanga mum palasi le dila mamma man la fika ke ministati Mama Kande fana ye min fo Adama e wolo nyinti ko mbela flaka ke vice president olati andu mamma kande molle fanalu to diyala kaytande patio kono ko ni bente fanankela vice president de mbela flele yinyinu fanalu ta ka palaso di dolla ka ambassadeur palaso di dolla adama nata itandala ko lafitale de niya do ko ke bari mbela flele yena yella fankan itekela foroti ndenga ke ye jongoti nte fana mba mek solala ko mbe palaso di le talale bar mamma kande ko jannimbe laale kan ye palaso dinna sa nyosa bobe nyinato bari ya jele ko mamma kande kortale har jobe alale bulu mamma kande kala patio sambanu nyami nte fewo fen fono la woto mam fewo fen lo woto bar har jobe alale bulde bari be nyine use kam mamma kande kanko sotomi yalon ka korta amad bale duyo yitande adama barola akay ko ninga nyatil ngala romba sotono la sain to nyin dalilo la ya tinna mamma kande anin adama baro nyaay nyoje sain dakoro le manke place kuola bar diamo nyimbe keri temale abe labanna nyamin ntew fonola mawolom folo bar ni kuoku lontaje ndo fanam be fintela la ka waytande gambian kolla pour ka be bondali nyoto wala na Gambia wallahi alnganna politician olu korosi alnganna politician olu korosi nimman na politician olu korosi mbe nimi salale politiko manke chahanoti politiko manke ko etenyanta nalale dron pour ye balu nyima sot politiko ni ko ibe Gambia le nyinin na pour Gambia nolu ye oto e nyanta Gambia nolu hormalale inyanta e gambianolu horma andun isike moti mi ya lon ko tekela palaso nyini lati yo jidi sinkolu fanalu jamabi je e bantara kontaniri mamma kandira ko bawo mole milimira Gambia Ibrahima Nyawolu anila nyi jidi simolu milube Gambia moti je mamma kande min todi Adama Barola mamma kande fanaye mo kutolu ani mol miliya lon ko imambo bata bake GDC ay wolle toldi Adama Barola butum malum fafanam be wol compensate kanne katum aman sonoya yo barin safale ko anin Adama Baro bentale kacali be ke kanne imam ben kanne to folo andum mamma nyanta min understand la Adama e ngani yo sotolo pour que mamma kandela political career ka tinya wallahi momo ka mira ko Adama Barobe sonnale pour mamma kande seate noto mamma kande fanan kata bulo wulindi jimara kontelo mu president min sayta Adama Baro noto wallahi mamma ka fanne nene andum Adama Baro yalo mol ka folo ko ha ala karamman jamfa bara kuninta politiko konole de bi may fati be diamula no jumale e maje bi ne ate naaje palasol be vacantrin dron palasol bije minulalon ko be kiderin dron o wato la be fintila abe Adama kuma bal fola abe Adama jayla ba tentula abe banku dingolu doyandila pour Adama saate fanan korosi ka palasi diala bar Adama e min fo wolom nyinti ko jannin may fati fangominala Adama ya itan le ko na batata abe nalale abe ne dankulale alnga si doron yo ando ay Ismaila Sisa fana na kariya tinya ay Mamadou Sabal la kariya tinya so nali ye mira wo bela abe wole ngaba kam mamma kande kamma pour kam mamma kande fana kala political kariya be kasara bulu so nyine be kering commune drong e bulumuto be kering nte dunno la ko kono bake ka dinka je bake bari nyine be kering so nimbota je audio fulanjango mi ya lonko mbeo dadala pour keba madi bojang anala lamin toure ndo audio kala wolle kama so barim se afali ko dukare mamma kande political party nyaton kolomu alin sa kata drong se diamuno ala kuoto ba mbemu gambe no leti barin sa ke hormo ko na nim bunya ko na andu ngawole lo UDP nsi mol tentu ala ngajay mol mi ka fu kon kana mamma kande la kumo fu hani mamma kande mu politique nyaton ko leti anu politique nyaton ko mi madi abe fenne nyinin kan aba nyinin kan gambia dingul le bulu so naba ñinin kan gambe dingul bulu ni ngaje abe silo bula ka oton tel gambe dingul ñantala kumo folale wo manke tanati baren sa fo horomo kono anim buña kono kode ala kordade ayo wafu amad bamale wo mu kulati min sotota anda awa fama dalasi million sabale la wo mu kulata sototale andu adama baro fara mamma kande ay tandal ko jannimbe nala ngalla fe kan iben kala vice president le ma foda ba kala la flag bi arati de ma fode bara ay tandal ko iben kala vice president le mamma kande fanan ala modol bi jela ay milu fanalu tolu samba kadi adama baro la ko ni bente tale be nyil fanal tala palaso so dakoro manke so ngon sina ngawle falie na audio fulanya ko min nga fale nyami ngala min turela diamo moy lafta ka kumandim fay wala to ala baraka baake alnal badim malo Musa Sedi yo badin gambian ko lon tele muruta nan ko teke drong kacha sutung na nyin kuoto nga lamin turela kacha moy ni ya tara ko ma UDP nyaajawo fonunje nta jabila nama UDP nyaajawo fonunje nta jabila yo bari ay kumal le fay UDP kan wo dalilo le ya tinna mbe lamin ture jabila mba jabila hormo kono anim buña kono hani ya tara molo mati mi ya rongo ntenenete lala tela politiko kono bari ntelube nyamin na politiko be nyamin ntel bukan da fay opposition o kan lamin ture min kolayata al bulunu adama baro wala be sirin na banko kunto ntel kan da fay adama le kan ntel bukan da fay opposition kan yo bari mbe min fole lamin ture iko ibadin dolo mo wala diamu tela ko la na haji te woto ntala haji te woto de bari mbe min fole wala mo nyinti ko yekuma kangol le fo UDP ma kuma kango mi ya lonko o man la bulukan keba madi de nga horomale nga bunya kabira bota UDP keba madi neneta fola ko UDP kol natale ba kaja fikan ninga ma femfen naka ke bankola kuoleti andunte Musa Sedi mfintitale because nene nga diamo ke keba madi la kuola le badi yabe nin keba madi temale bar nana da bankola kuola fo nga toñafo nga o kumo fo kayitandi ko ikko keba madi duntanu kulun kuola kono ka dinniwul bondi Gambia bar birin nata toñaje ngaji ko ye kangole la keba madi lam fintitale ngata keba madi sa hako boyndinye andung ngalon ko ni keba madi o kuma kango moy aba hako boyndi lanyele ngaji ko seneyata ko nyin kono le molle lafta dron ka jawya miningala yo bari lamin ture ko alteluka min fonu UDP ko UDP ni metela alfalu bodulalu long ikete ke luntangolati ani alla NPP le kawo fo UDP ma ko UDP kol le kawoke bari UDP kabu kawoke NPP la kalla lamin ture sila imaje nate la NPP kol sai ko kawol le jabi ibota je ko NPP kol ko ni momo ya lonko UDP kol ko ni momo ya lonko abetel la kafoto wakake mo kendolti bar ni woyetel la kafo bularo wakake mo kurungolati hani yarta mariye muneke lamin ture hani UDP kol mawfo e kam Mamadou Sabal min fo biranata UDP aketa debate balati UDP dingo dol fo Mamadou Sabal tata UDP dingo dol ma songala kuola nko Mamadou Sabal se bolo ay bolo seyro kele nko hani ala ni yaje ni moliye kuke ka tubi alama fewo fennetije bari min bijeto wolo nyinti ko Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aka tubo mutale mol se tubama ya tara ya tonye yo ni Mamadou Sabal fana yewoke ako sainde lafita kake mo kendoti mbe lafala altel la kafo kan mo kende kafo kala saringo anata nkay ko jande nendir buka kija baral ka fintal ko yal tel nen yal banen baral nenete audio fintindila ko UDP kole bal nen kan kalbane anenete findila bar alte momolo modi yembanen ne yem famanen barola kuola bar moneneta fintindila ko de UDP ko hayna baltel ba abe banendrol barin se banendirla al fal teliye minulu yalon kal ni benun kafu killing alni wolle bulodi ñol folo bay fal kante be je fulanyo ite la min tura fango moteje min ka kangola gambian kolla ninka Usenu Darboe ka bulala min tambitete la sabanyo Fatoumata Jawara nani nyaw Maimouna Cissé Darboe lulu njango Adama Barrow fango woro njaw Sidi Ndiaye woro wula njaw Demba Sabali keba mari buka monen de keba mari buka monen abuka bula mola ha lato kumola bar Lamin Touré ngalu dani bi imu opposition olati ngam bulolu di nyola ba ni aje bota NPP man sakunda tanyale me nyafa wala yatina ya mutako mbadunga tanga patiolo isaje gambiankol sulata minan se oke gambiankole Adama Barrow jayo wo mu jote alti selande Adama teke ita kela no mo kendeti because ala man sakunda corruption o mimbiya e yalon bawo Demba Sabal fa bota wala foka yo mbe danila malla fin nite nda tili nyola kotake politiko kono because munom ebe opposition o le kan sign ntel bukan da tili opposition la de al kam min fo UDP man niaje yenyim fo wala yatina fa on finti sambe jabila pour mol kan na mina ko Lamin Touré min fo toñalom ko wala na UDP kolbe dering hani Lamin Touré man toña fo UDP kan nene ma fo moy ko e mulun tawalda alla dembo by force wala e wo fo anda nata ke munati ako nganyim fole pour ka UDP tinya ngake politiko le kamma so naltel dinnul kalbe tintinna wala ka fo UDP ma wota kala no toñaati yo nimbota auto fana iko nimo se kuriya nyaonya nabe UDP aka ke mo kendole di barnabota UDP dro aka ke mo kurungole hani Lamin Touré wonte UDP ti ila Sidi Ndiaye alkafo mi no honorable alaftanna ala follow ke UDP le anyinin kaba bar UDP man songala de nkayle hani ndal bukam mo kurunta andu womo Jamal le beje minule yoke Mamadou Sabali atata commission o tole da tapale yaluke ha bari commission o la kuo benun kitiyo le bulunu mi ya lonko Mamadou Sabal fanga ya la kuo samba kitiyo ta kama songala o kitiyo be tamakan Mamadou Sabali nata na akabi na la UDP ay tubo se gambian koluma ba tele lota ala sionen ay abadi ngol benen ala molu benen sa nata akabe la fala UDP ka ayo tubo ke nko ba ka tubitale alanga ala kuota alhamdulillah UDP mu yam fa patiolati UDP mu patiolati mi ya lonko imang fenje foye Gambia leje UDP manna ka foko mo nae mistake ko ke ay bolo sero ke afanse alama UDP ko be talale nge seneyandi ngaw katole ke Mamadou Sabali comme barkan tangolo mu molo mati mimman duwa soto a butunga muruta akaba fanti nyala kotoje manku no woto atambira sanji tan ni sheola la afa wala independence soto le barna molo mu mi ya lon ka nyanta fanti nyala Iblisa mimu Iblisa di itele wolontere ba on ka moyle e ka alqur'ana kulofo fo ka min fo ya faham fo ma faham ba mawlon en ka moyle kaf bari Iblisa mimu Iblisa di ngamira ala batule anata ka sey ka ala soso wala wadalilo le ya tinna Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ay tan ko mbe jola jahanna bole la so Mamadou Sabali na fanda da e ni moliya kata pour ka dada afango seyta tubo sey anata muru ala kuo ka imaje ala halaki follow min kala ate muslime dinto atata chojum koliya fana ani woli la saloke kaytan di ko ntebe dina fulale yalon kafri yaman tambol so oto Lamin Touré malla finite ndatuli nyola malla fi nite ndatuli nyola ndello mo opposition oti ngaden nga nyimbanko bonde Adama Barrow bulu malla kote ke pour ka finti pour ke jaabi kuma jamal le fonon kunun telte murundi lela kumol kande bawo ntelbe minto iyo inata wole jen ko nyimman sakunda manke man sakunda sobe to nyanda fero kala nga bonde ni ala nata o dundi te sonno moto inata ke opposition o to silang ntelte murundi lela kuma kotol kande be min fole dro wala mun opposition o nga nyo fasa nga ke kilomiti nga je ko mbela gol muminti wala pour man sakunda kendo e soto banko kan nga Adama Barrow bondi kumoto jam fala mbeddanne janne to fo wati do alnal badi malo Musa Sey.
In the National Assembly, so I was waiting for them, not knowing that they were here, because this occasion is one that calls for their presence, as they were among the principal actors in the National Assembly yesterday. So my apologies for coming late. But gentlemen of the press, and indeed through you, I come before all Gambians, and this should not be a surprise. This moment is not just about the failure of a bill in our National Assembly. It is about something far deeper, a troubled pattern of failed leadership and betrayed public promises. I speak to you not as the leader of a political party, but as a fellow citizen, one who, like you, has witnessed our nation's long, painful journey towards justice, accountability, and democracy. The 2024 Constitution of the Republic of Gambia Promulgation Bill, introduced by President Adama Barrow, has officially failed in Parliament. But this is not the first time that our nation's hope for constitutional reform has been crossed under his administration. Let us remember clearly, in 2020, the Gambian people were presented with the most inclusive, transparent, and consultative constitutional process in our history. The CRC went to every corner of this country to listen to you, the people. That draft was born from your voices, your stories, your struggles. It was a people's draft, written not in isolation, but in collaboration with the citizens, experts, and civil society. Yet, it was President Adama Barrow and his government who both openly and behind the scenes led the campaign to sabotage that people-centered draft. They withdrew their support. They lobbied against it. And when the time came, their allies in Parliament killed it. The UDP and their progressive voice and other progressive voices stood in full support of the 2020 CRC draft, but we were derailed by those who pledged loyalty to a man above duty to a nation. Let us be honest, those who now champion President Barrow's 2024 draft constitution showed no such urgency when the real people's draft was before us. Had they fought then with the same intensity they fight with now, the CRC draft might have become our constitution. But they didn't, and we must ask ourselves why now? Why this draft? The answer is clear. This is not about the people, it is about power. Now, 4 years later, the same administration that destroyed the people's draft returned with a new document drafted behind closed doors, without public consultation, and designed to serve one man's political interest, not the national interest. And when this bill reached Parliament, it was the opposition parties who stood firm, who said no to exclusion, no to manipulation, and no to self-serving government. We did not reject reform. We rejected a process that bypassed the people and undermined our democracy. Let us call this what it is: betrayal repeated. First, they rejected the constitution written by the people. Then, they tried to impose one written for themselves. Time and time, the National Assembly members under the NPP and their allies have proven themselves unreliable. They make promises they do not keep. They shake hands in public only to break trust in private. Their loyalty is not to the nation, but to political survival. No negotiation can survive beyond the second reading, not when it rests on their word. Let us now forget that it was the UDP that tabled a bill to repeal. Let us not forget that it was the UDP that tabled a bill to repeal the repressive and repressive Public Order Act as a colonial relic used for decades to silence dissent and criminalize assembly. It was the NPP, NAMS, and their allies who rejected it. That moment made one truth abundantly clear that we stand for liberty and they stand in this way. The failure of the 2024 Constitution Promulgation Bill is not merely a legislative defeat for President Adama Barrow. It is a national indictment of his hypocrisy, his broken promises, and his disregard for democratic values. To those who argue that a flawed 2024 Barrow draft is better to remain stuck with the Jammeh-era 1997 Constitution, I understand the temptation to settle for what seems like the lesser of the two evils. That may be political expedient, but it is not right. A constitution is the most important legal and moral compass of a nation. It defines who we are and what we aspire to become as a nation in the community of nations. We cannot accept a process where a president unilaterally discards a draft that reflected the collective will of the Gambian people, only to replace it with a document crafted behind closed doors by himself and his allies. The United Democratic Party remains unwavering in its conviction that constitutional reform must be people-led, transparent, and inclusive. No shortcuts, no secret drafting, no manipulations. We have not forgotten the price paid to arrive at this juncture. Many have sacrificed. Some, like Solo Sandel, gave their lives so we could dream of a new Gambia. A Gambia built on justice, rule of law, and dignity for everyone. Some, like Kaniba Kanye, have been disappeared so that we can have a Gambia whose citizens live in dignity. This is the Gambia that the United Democratic Party has always wanted. And this is the Gambia for which these people have sacrificed their lives. The Gambia that we all aspire to starts with the solid grounding in a constitution that reflects the aspirations of the people. And such a constitution, one can only be attained through widespread consultations with those who matter most, we the people. The Barrow draft neglected that most basic but fundamental first step and for that we stand opposed to him in his desire to impose his will on the people. We did not fight for change, just to watch it hijacked by those who now seek to entrench themselves in power. Let us be clear, President Barrow and had his chance in 2020 to lead the Gambia into a new constitutional era. He squandered it. This second attempt was not a correction. It was a confirmation of his intent to write our future in his own image, without our voice and without our consent. The Gambians deserve better. We must now return to the path we abandoned in 2020, the path of participatory democracy, genuine national dialogue, and constitutional legitimacy. The UDP stands ready to work with all democratic forces to revive the CRC draft with necessary updates where needed at the level of the National Assembly. Yes, always grounded in the consultation and the consensus. To the Gambian people, we say this is not the end, this is a new beginning. Let us rise, not in despair, but with renewed determination. Let us reclaim the reform agenda. Let us defend our democracy. And let us work together to build a constitution that reflects our shared hopes, our deepest values, and the future of our children deserves. I want to thank you for your kind attention, and this is the statement that the United Democratic Party wishes to make on the design failure of the draft constitution, a failure that was designed by President Darboe Declares, because they knew all along that bringing another document to the National Assembly for discussion without really proper consultation, they knew that that would fail. If the draft, 2020 draft, had been brought to the National Assembly, it would have gone to a third reading, and when it goes to a third reading, it would have got the required constitutional votes to make to subject to a referendum. But because he didn't want a constitution, he can go on draft one privately with his cabinet and think that they can impose that on the Gambian people. UDP resists any imposition on the people of the Gambia. UDP believes that any law, particularly the Constitution, the most basic and fundamental law, cannot be an imposition on the people. It must be one that comes out of the free will of the Gambian people. And we say that the Gambian people's constitution is what resonates with us, and that is what we have always stood for, and we will continue to stand for that. For several years since 1996, we have given our lives, we have given our assets, our properties, everything we have done so that this country gets a constitution that the Gambian people deserve. We cannot allow President Adama Barrow and his APRC allies to impose on the Gambian people a constitution that we do not deserve. And I want to say that the United Democratic Party does not feel apologetic about the vote that took place in the National Assembly yesterday. It was one that is expected. And if anything happened other than that, we would feel that our National Assembly members have indeed betrayed the Gambian people. And Honorable Minority Leader, Chief Whip, I'd like to congratulate all of you, as well as the North Alliance and the Honorable Member for Janjambure, for really standing with the Gambian people, for really supporting the Gambian people's project and rejecting Adama Barrow's personal project. And And of course the honorable, not Alliance, and the honorable member for Banjul South, who has always been a very prominent advocate for good constitution for this country, who has always been a prominent advocate of whittling executive powers and entrusting the people's representatives with the necessary mandate to make sure that their oversight functions are performed properly and effectively. And the tool to do so is a constitution which really vests power in them to effectively oversee the executive and all other institutions whose activities are subjected to their oversight function. I thank you, and thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you very much for talking to the at this juncture, we will take a few questions and ask journalists to introduce themselves, media house to represent, and state their questions. But we will also appeal that the questions are based on the issues of the Constitution and the position of the party, and let us keep it within those confines and limits. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Darboe Declares. Thank you for the information. My question is considering the economic country.
Considering?
My question is considering the hardship that Gambians are facing. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars being invested within 5 years for what's happening with the workers that the coalition of the Constitution. Now we are approaching the 2026 presidential election, which is also this year, which means that at this time we are considering the 1997 Constitution, which means single majority to be one more details and make the implement the president again. What is UDP going to ensure that? Hence, you look at the government moving forward, people force against going to take the government from 2026. And also, what is your stand on people saying that the parliament should have allowed the bill to pass so that it can be given the chance for the public to have their say?
Your first question, let me preface it with that, and in fact that will lead to answer for the second question. I'm sure if you follow the deliberations in National Assembly, you will not have missed the intervention of the Honorable Member for Woodley East. He did say that the coalition government, or the coalition then, were really having as a campaign agenda a new constitution, and that the age limit should be removed. So you have that. And that was the campaign promises that was taken to the Gambian. Elect us as leaders of government. Elect President Barrow as the president of this country. And this 1997 constitution, we will do away with it. That was the electoral promise. That has not been adhered to, or that has not been fulfilled. So that is betrayal of the Gambian people. It's betrayed his promise to the Gambian people. Now, what we do so that you can defeat President Barrow, I think it's a question for the Gambian people. Are you willing to be guided, or to be guided by the 1997 Constitution? Are you willing to continue living under a government that is corrupt? Are you willing to continue living under a government that is insensitive to your problems? Are you willing to live on a government that just gives false promises and does not really fulfill them. It is for you Gambian people. And we have to really work together. Forget about the personalities of any political leader and focus on the things that matter to us. And what matters is a government that really keeps its promises, a leader that keeps the promises, a leader that is willing to fight corruption, a leader that is prepared to bring in a lean government. You don't want to have too big government, and you do not want to have a president that is too powerful. After all, we are complaining about the 1997 Constitution because too much power existed in the executive. And this is what Barrow wants in his 2024 draft. And we are saying in 2020 draft, no, the executive must be bridled. You can exercise executive power, but there should be limitations. And the trend now is really to have executive control. They complain that, yes, you don't even want to give the president the power to dismiss or to remove from office Inspector General of Police. Yes, it is very important because police, we have seen here how the security forces have been used in suppressing political opponents in this country. Even currently they're doing it. They pick you up on a Friday, and then you spend Saturday, spend Sunday. They say that you cannot have access to the courts. So we cannot take you before the court within 72 hours. And they continue doing that. And you want us to retain such a government? Because the Inspector General of Police position, is so critical in our African politics. So you want to give him absolute immunity, absolute protection. You want to ensure that his office, is independent. He can take decisions that are not informed by political considerations. But they are saying, no, he should be removed. You want to appoint a minister, and you say it cannot be, the National Assembly should not really investigate that person, whether he is fit to be appointed as a minister. And that is unthinkable in modern democracies. Go to Ghana. Go to Nigeria. That's why I think Nigeria takes about 6 months before the cabinet is formed, because the ministers are subjected to National Assembly, to Senate scrutiny. In Ghana, they are subjected to National Assembly scrutiny. So that you don't bring in, a drug dealer to have him as your Minister of Interior, under whom the Drug Law Enforcement Agency is placed. You want to put competent people there. You don't want to really take a lawyer and make him Minister of Health, because you have questioned the competence of the person in that ministry. So what can be done, because there is this simple majority, is that all of us must get together. We must come together and vote out this government. That is the answer. And this is what we are appealing to all of you. I'm appealing to all of you to give your vote to the United Democratic candidate that will be nominated for the 2026 presidential election. And we have the pedigree. We have shown the whole world who we are and what we are. Since 1996, we have not retreated. We have been always pushing forward to push up the national agenda. That's what we have always been doing. There is nobody in this country who doubts the United Democratic stand on all the major issues, on corruption, on excessive use of executive powers, on parliamentary dormancy. You have our person have been made clear on all these things. So it will be left for you Gambian people now to decide that, look, yes, United Democratic Party has spoken to us for quite a long time. We will not make the mistake of rejecting them again. Now, the second question, progress to the National Assembly. Of course, that is what the people are saying. But why did they say in 2020 that Barrow and his people should have allowed that constitution to proceed to the consideration stage and ultimately to the third reading? They are not asking that question. Why are they asking of it now? Why now? Why not then? If we are seriously concerned, and we all agree that that 2020 draft is a people-centered constitution. That is the constitution that reflects the aspirations of the Gambian people. Consultations between the Gambia and outside the Gambia was carried out. If Barrow wanted a constitution, he would have told his people, please, let this pass. In September of 2020, when he had made the nations, the State of the Nations, he would have addressed National Assembly members and appealed to all of them and said, please, this draft is coming before you. I ask every member of this assembly to vote for it. On the day the bill was introduced, I went on radio to ask all members of the National Assembly to vote for it. If Barrow had done the same thing, if we had gone for the second would have passed, go to Congress.